Hey, good morning, all. It is kind of towards the end of January already, 29th, 2024. So, wow, time kind of flew by there. But here we are, January 29. I got a few things on my list here, not a ton on the calendar, but definitely some things on my list of items to share. Um, you know what? Let's do the calendar real quick, and then we'll dive into my to-do list. So, calendar, we've got shadows this week. We've got one today, and we've got some coming towards the end of the week, which is good. Tomorrow, Tuesday, the 30th, is our first eligibility check. So we let the first few weeks go into the eligibility because if one particular grade doesn't do well, then and it's the only grade in the book or one of a few grades in the book, then it can really impact your grade guardian score. So we wait till the end of this first month of the quarter. So now there's plenty of grades in there where the grade guardian is going to be more accurate. So Mr. Hanson, starting tomorrow, if needed, might not need to, is going to start chatting with some folks about their eligibility. So if you're worried or concerned or whatever, maybe check in with that teacher or those teachers to say, hey, where am I at? What am I missing? Things like that. Okay. So anyway, that's really important. Other than that, it's a relatively smooth week. The end of this week is Mr. Thunder. It's Friday, and it's like a mock up. It's making fun of a beauty pageant, kind of. It's with the senior boys. Not all the senior boys do it, but a lot of them do. And it's really fun. It's really funny. There's usually 700-800 people there. It's really fun. So you do a lot of laughing, and it's really really fun. So I recommend that. It's in the main gym. So anyway, that should be really fun. My son did that. Actually, he won Mr. Thunder. Mrs. Johnson's son won Mr. Thunder as well his year. So anyway, it's really fun. All right, so let me move to kind of my list of things. Let's see. I've noticed that our tardies are kind of starting to creep up, so I'm going to start keeping a closer eye on that. I'm just going to run a weekly check. I'm going to start today. I'm just going to check on last week. I've just noticed that after the bell, some of our students are still kind of wandering a little bit. So I'd like to kind of tighten that up, dial that in a little bit. So if you could work with me on that, if we all team up on that together, I think I think it can improve. So students, just be aware of that. Today or this week, it's going to be warm, which means our grass is going to be really wet. So starting today, those that are out on the field, we're going to go to the turf. Those that want to play basketball in Foursquare and on the playground, y'all stay, do your thing, just stay off the grass. The thing there is, please remember your lunch boxes so you're not going back up and you're not worried about someone having to bring it in for you. So if you're going to go out to the turf, take your lunchbox with you so that you can just go straight into the building and right to class. So anyway, that'll be fun. Get out on the turf. So we'll go out there right away once we go. Obviously, you'll wait for me to walk you out there. Let's see, summer camps. We're hanging up the banners today for the summer camps. Those are starting to populate. So if you're going to sign up for a summer camp, I highly recommend that you do that. It's certainly in the newsletter each week and things like that. So sign up for summer camps. All right, so spring sports. Yeah, so what you got to do is you go under activities, events, you go under athletics, and there's this arrow right here, and you'll see spring sports. You'll sign up. Here's how you register and all that good stuff. Okay? So spring sports. That's that. All right? All right, I'm going to keep going on my list here, gang. So spring sports, that's really important. Get signed up for that. Let's see. And I think that's about it. Let me go back to the home page. Our cleanup crew, those that have the opportunity to serve their classmates, are Mike and Max, Jaden, Mikhail, Janet, Anders, and Austin. So please make sure you sign out each day. That's really important. So Mike, Max, Jaden, Mikhail, Janet, and Anders, and Austin. So please make sure that you sign out. Anyway, you have an opportunity to serve. I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. I think that is about it. All right, church. So continuing in Jonah, so we kind of finished up on chapter 1 and went into the first portion of chapter 2 of Jonah. And so Jonah gets thrown overboard. Everybody knows the story. Gets thrown overboard and kind of sinks, and then this giant fish, whale, scoops him up. And he spends 3 days in a fish. Okay? Kind of a crazy story. But the bottom line is, God needs Jonah to kind of like hit rock bottom almost. Like, this is not going well. The decisions that he's making, he's got to hit rock bottom. And he's got to get to the point where, like, oh man, this is not going well. I really do need God. So he wasn't ready to go. So God asked him to go. Remember at the very beginning of Jonah, I need you to go and preach. Spread the good news. Jonah says, thanks, but no thanks. Turns, goes literally the exact opposite direction. You and I do that all the time, right? God calls us to a higher calling as people on how we treat each other, and often we're like, no, I think I'm just not going to treat people well, or whatever. Or God says, I would love for you to go to church and be in community with others, and we're like, nah, I think I'm going to do my own thing, thank you. So God says, basically, what this part of the passage is saying that I learned yesterday is, God still has a ton of work to do on Jonah and Jonah's heart. He's just not ready to preach yet. And you and I might be there too, right? So we haven't gotten to the point where God has finished working on us, maybe, where we can go out and preach the good news. And so, yeah, we have a lot of work to do. God has a lot of work to do on us. There's no doubt about it. So Jonah gets to the point where he learns of the grace of God. Like he has a light bulb moment. Like, oh my gosh, I get it. I'm ready to go preach. You and I might have had those moments or not. I don't know. Where it's like, I get it. I know God's grace. I experienced his salvation, and now I want to go tell the story. Right? Whether it was a moment, a difficult moment with your family, you're like, oh, I get it now. Or a difficult conversation with me, or a difficult conversation with a teacher, or a difficult conversation with a coach, or a difficult conversation with a friend, whatever. And you sort of experienced God's grace through someone. I have, right? Now I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to go preach. I'm ready to go just share about the good news. So the question is, what's your salvation story? What has Jesus done for you? It doesn't have to be this, like he moved a mountain for you. It can be a tiny little thing. That can be your salvation story. Like you just see one of your classmates differently, and you're like, oh, God's grace, God's salvation. I get it. It can be moving a mountain in your life, health of a family member, health of you, whatever it might be. But maybe it's just a tiny moment that you saw God's grace, and now you're like, I need to go tell others about that moment, about God's grace. Anyway, that's what I took away. God had to work on Jonah until Jonah was ready to go out and preach. God is still working on you and me, and we experience these little micro moments of God's grace, and now that should put us ready to go and preach his good news. Anyway, all right, y'all, be good. Love you, and have a great Monday.